Hey y'all, so from the title of this video you can probably tell that this is not my regular video. So I've decided that I'm going to start a new series on my channel where I'm going to be talking about unsolved mysteries and murders and all things like that. It's just something that I'm really interested in, and I know that like a lot of my friends are and stuff, and I'm sure that like every single person here watches like Shane Dawson's conspiracy theory videos, and I'm obsessed with Bella Fiori's Mystery Monday videos. But out of all them videos, I've never heard anybody talk about like Irish mysteries or anything that has happened in Ireland, so I decided that I was going to do that today. These videos are not meant to be disrespectful at all. Since I am talking about Ireland, I know that there is a kind of a high chance that somebody watching these videos might be connected to the family or live in the like general area that I'm talking about where like, you know, a mystery may have occurred. But I don't want anybody to think that this is like being disrespectful. I'm just talking about this because I think it's really interesting. And I also think that it's kind of, you know, important to shed light on things like this because the stuff that I have been reading about, I have like never heard about. And I just thought it was really interesting to, you know, kind of bring that to light and share it with my viewers. So in the first video to my Unsolved Mysteries series, I'm going to be talking about the disappearance of Fiona Sinnott. So Fiona was from Wexford. She was a mother of one. Her daughter's name was Emma, and her daughter was 11 months old at the time that Fiona disappeared. She lived in a rented house about 5 miles from her family home where her mother, father and 2 sisters lived, and she lived in the house alone with her daughter. She went missing on February 8th, 1998, so I think I'm just going to talk a little bit about what happened that night, and then we'll get into some theories about what happened to her. Fiona and her small group of friends had a tradition of going to their local pub, which was called Butler's, every Friday night. On February the 8th, 1998 was no different. They met at the pub at about 5 p.m. They stayed there for the whole night. During the night, Fiona called her brother and she told him to come for a drink, but he said that he couldn't because he had work commitments the next day. Sometime during the night, Fiona's ex-boyfriend and the father of her baby showed up, and he stayed there and had some drinks with her and her friends. When the pub closed at about 12 a.m, Fiona left and she was accompanied by her ex-boyfriend Sean Carroll. I'm going to insert a photo here of the path that she took to get to her house from the pub. It wasn't long at all. It was through like country roads. It would have taken her about 25 minutes to get home. So according to her ex-boyfriend Sean Carroll, they got to her house and she complained about having pains in her upper body and especially in her arms. He said that she went straight to bed and he slept on the couch that night. Nothing was out of the ordinary, everything was normal. The next morning, Sean Carroll says that he got up and went to Fiona's room to see that she was awake and she was talking to him as normal. She said that the pains in her upper body were still there and that she was going to go visit a GP that day. But she told him that she was kind of low on funds, so he lent her some money so that she could get herself to the GP and get herself checked out. Sean then says that his mother came to the house and she collected him and they drove back to his family house where their daughter Emma was staying. This is the last time that Fiona was seen alive. So since it was 1998, there wasn't a lot of mobile phones around, so it wasn't uncommon for people to not speak to their family for a couple of days on end. Correspondence was usually done through face-to-face encounters or writing letters or talking on a landline phone if you had one, which Fiona didn't. The alarm was raised on the 18th of February, 10 days after she disappeared. These 10 days was such valuable time. The first 48 hours in a missing persons investigation is the most crucial time where they're either going to be found or they're not, and they didn't even have that. They had 10 days lost. Fiona's dad actually called the police and reported her missing, and they launched a full-scale missing persons investigation right away. The Gardaí, which is the Irish police force if you don't already know that, they went knocking door to door to her neighbours to see if anybody had seen her, if anybody knew where she was, or if anybody had noticed anything out of the ordinary happening around her house at the time that she might have disappeared. So numerous neighbours reported seeing black bin bags outside of her house for a couple of days. They said that the bags would increase in numbers and then decrease as if somebody was packing things up from her house and then disposing of them. When the police searched her house, they noted that there was an absence of personal belongings, documents with her name on it, photos, just personal belongings. They said that there was no trace of who might live there or that there was a teenage girl living there or a baby. They were just baffled. Again, since it was 1998, they didn't have the technology to take DNA samples from the scene, which is really unfortunate because it might have led to them finding out what happened to her. So the Gardaí made it public knowledge that the black bags had been outside of her house, and they asked people to come forward who may have found black bags or anything like that or any of her personal belongings. A farmer did come forward to say that he had found a number of black bags in the corner of his field, and he recognized her name because he had looked through the bag and found like bills that had her name on it and stuff like that. Unfortunately, he thought it was just another case of illegal dumping, so he burned the bags straight away and destroyed all of the evidence. Gardaí obviously questioned Fiona's family as well. Her sister said that on the day that Fiona disappeared, they had made plans to go shopping the following week to shop for Fiona's other sister's 21st birthday. They were going to get her a gift. And Fiona's daughter Emma was about to turn 1 on the 28th of February, so it was just out of sorts that she would pack up and leave. So when the Gardaí searched medical records, they found out that Fiona actually didn't visit a GP that day, which she had said that she was going to do. She told her ex-boyfriend Sean that she needed to visit a GP, but she didn't. A motorist also came forward and said that he had seen 4 people on the night that Fiona disappeared. He said that he had seen a couple, a man and a woman, arguing on the street, and he said that he had also seen 2 young men in their late teens to early 20s near those 2 arguing people. These 4 people were never identified, and despite the Gardaí putting out an appeal for them people to come forward, they never came forward. Which is strange. Like, don't you think you would come forward if you knew it was you, unless you did something bad in that situation? So the case was just gone cold. They didn't know where Fiona was, they hadn't found her, and there was just very little evidence for them to go off. So in 2005, the investigation was changed from a missing persons investigation into a full-scale murder investigation. During the murder investigation, 6 people were arrested, 3 men and 3 women. Unfortunately, there isn't a lot of information online about who these people were or, you know, why they were arrested, but they were ultimately released. That's kind of the downside to doing videos about Irish mysteries, that there's not a whole lot of information about it. So I've literally written down everything I could find. I literally have like 6 pages of facts written down. These arrests turned up no results and the people were just released without charge. In 2015, it was revealed that the Gardaí had launched 459 inquiries into the murder, and they had also taken 355 statements. Fiona's family also hired a private investigator because they felt like the police just weren't doing enough. They felt like they could get more information themselves, so they hired a private investigator, but this didn't really turn up any more results than they were looking for. There was a report of a woman's scream in the Mill Pond Cross area, which was not far from where the pub was that they had been that night, but this was never confirmed or linked to the case. Quarries were searched. Over 4 digs took place in multiple sites around Wexford where they had suspected that her body might be buried, and lakes were even drained, suspecting that maybe her body had been thrown in a lake. I need a drink. Okay, something else that is notably strange is that there was a plaque that was meant to be unveiled in Fiona's memory in the Our Lady's Cemetery in Wexford in September of 2008. The plaque was like marble and it was cemented into the wall. But the day before the plaque was meant to be unveiled, it was stolen and it went missing. And the Gardaí have said that they believe that the person who killed Fiona is the person who took the plaque. I say killed, but obviously we still don't know if she was killed. They suspect that she was murdered and her body was disposed of, but for all we know, she could still be out there and just missing. So that is all the information that there is about the case. I know it's not a lot, and that's all that the Gardaí had to go off. So now let's get into some of the theories about what happened to Fiona. So one of the theories that seems kind of likely is that the night that she walked home with her ex-partner Sean Carroll, a fight broke out between them in her house and he ultimately killed her. To add to that, it is notable to say that Fiona's ex-boyfriend Sean was jailed for 3 months in 2005 for threatening to kill his own cousin. There is debate whether he purposely killed her or he killed her by accident. Further into this theory is that he had help disposing of the body and covering up the murder. Fiona's own family have said that they believe that there is a big conspiracy in Wexford and a lot of people know where Fiona's body is, and they think that a lot of people were involved in covering up the murder and disposing of her body. I couldn't find any information to confirm this, but allegedly there was a man who was linked to the disposal of the body, but unfortunately in 2001 he died of a drug overdose, which makes it all the more suspicious. People have theorized that he committed suicide by drug overdose because he either couldn't live with the guilt or he was afraid of facing persecution. But again, this is just a theory. I couldn't find the man's name. I couldn't find if this person was actually arrested. This is just a theory I found online. The second theory is that a serial killer was involved. This is unlikely in Fiona's case because Guardian investigators have determined that her killer was well known to her. So to add to this theory, Fiona is one of 6 women who vanished without a trace between 1993 and 1998. These 6 women are said to be part of a vanishing triangle, so called because the areas in which they disappeared in Ireland forms a triangle. The other 5 cases do suggest a serial killer. Fiona is just put into that category because she did disappear under the same circumstances and in the same areas and in the same time frame. But as I said, it was suspected that her killer was male and well known to her, which fits her ex-boyfriend's description. So in 2000, in the same area that these 6 women vanished without a trace, 2 hunters came across a man raping and attempting to suffocate a woman with a plastic bag in the Wicklow Mountains. The two men that discovered him were able to identify him, and they identified him as Larry Murphy. It was pieced together that he had abducted this woman, raped her several times, then driven to the Wicklow Mountains where he raped her again and intended to murder her by suffocating her with a plastic bag. In 2001, Larry Murphy was jailed for 15 years for rape and attempted murder. And something strange now is that when he went to prison, the disappearances stopped. He has never successfully been linked to the murders at all, but he did live in the Vanishing Triangle. So he was jailed for 15 years but only served 10 years, and he is actually out of prison now. He is believed to have some connection in the 6 disappearances, but it can't be proved. In 2015, it was announced that police were returning to the site of her home with new DNA technology, because obviously forensic technology has advanced so much since 1998 that they think that they can find some more clues to what happened to Fiona. I wasn't able to find any results that their new investigation has opened, because I don't think that they have been made public yet, because it was only 3 years ago that it happened. So who knows, they might have found something, they might have not, but until that information is released, we might not ever know where Fiona is or what happened to her. In 2017, Fiona's mother and her sister appeared on the TV show Crime Call, appealing for new information from anybody, because they do believe that there is a number of people around Wexford who know what happened to her and were involved in the cover-up. Sadly, in 2004, Fiona's father died. Fiona's sister told the newspapers that her father had died of a broken heart. From the time that she disappeared until the time that he died, Fiona's father waited every single day at the front gate of their house, hoping that she would just turn the corner and come home. That is honestly heartbreaking. If any of you have your own theories, I would love to hear them if you want to comment them below, or just tell me which theory you kind of believe happened. To be honest, I'm not convinced by either of them. Well, I hope you guys found that video a little bit interesting. I thought it was interesting to film, and I enjoyed like doing the research. Obviously it was a little bit difficult because there is not a lot of information online about Irish cases. There's a lot more about, you know, like American or Australian or European cases. Just Ireland is kind of, I don't know, forgotten about. If you have any other mysteries that you want me to talk about, whether they be in Ireland or the rest of the world, I kind of do want to stick to Ireland though, definitely comment them down below. I know this video was a little bit different, but I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to my channel because I'm definitely going to continue this series if you want to see more videos, and thank you so much for watching. Goodbye!